WandaVision is over. And for those of you who are now suffering from a bit of withdrawals from the Scarlet Witch, I'm here today to give you 5 versions of the Scarlet Witch that you can go and read to feed that habit or addiction or whatever you want to call it. Welcome to the Superior Comic Show, and this is my list of alternate versions of the Scarlet Witch. So we all know the MCU Scarlet Witch, Lizzie Olsen, fantastic, great version, great adoption of many different parts of different versions of the Scarlet Witch that has turned into her own character. But let's look at the Scarlet Witch that most people will be more accustomed to for the MCU, and that is Wanda Maximoff from Earth 616. So 616 is the main comic continuity in Marvel. It's the main Earth, main universe. You'd think it'd be Earth 1, but it's Marvel. And we see a lot of references to 616 in the movies. So Wanda Maximoff, fairly similar in 616 than she is in the movies, but slight differences. She's still the Scarlet Witch. Still twin sister to Pietro Maximoff. But in the comics, she and Pietro were once believed to be kids of Magneto. And I know you've probably heard them theories bouncing around since WandaVision started. But in truth, she was actually an orphan who got her powers when she was enhanced by a high evolutionary at Mount Windigore. And the high evolutionary enhanced her to become a conduit of chaos magic. So you see some differences, some similar. Still similar powers, manipulate and warp reality. And here's where it gets interesting. Wanda was trained by one Agatha Harkness to become one of the most powerful magic wielders on Earth. She joined the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, fighting for her daddy's cause with Pietro. But she didn't last too long in the Brotherhood, and then would go on to join the Avengers. She fell in love, just like in WandaVision in the MCU universe. She fell in love with Vision, but due to his artificial nature, they were unable to have children. And just like in WandaVision, she used her reality-altering powers to create twins, Tommy and Billy. The spell was later broken, which erased the twins from existence. Again, you're seeing it in WandaVision. Losing her kids broke her completely and caused her to create her own reality, which was known as the House of M, where in that universe everyone's truest desires came true. Win-win, right? Apparently not. You should go read it. Great book. The heroes of Earth eventually returned reality to normal, but not before Wanda would declare them words you've seen floating around on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram: no more mutants, where she would wipe out 91.4% of the X gene in an event that would then become known as the Decimation. I'm not going to spoil too much more on you, but you should definitely go read up on 616 Wanda. She's definitely the one with the most source material, but I would go read 616 Wanda. Wanda Maximoff, Earth 1610, formerly known as the Ultimate Universe. Probably the most controversial version of Wanda Maximoff. She was a passive member of the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, and after Magneto apparently died, as much as one can die in comics, she began working with the Brotherhood and actually rescued the X-Men from Weapon X. When Magneto came back, as they always do in comics, her and Pietro legged it. But he did catch up to them and injured Quicksilver, but left Wanda unharmed because she's his favorite in any universe. And that led to Wanda and Pietro eventually joining the Ultimates. And here's where things get creepy. In Ultimates 3, issue 1, Wanda is revealed to be playing fairly close to home. And we find out she is actually in an incestuous romantic relationship with Pietro. Bit of twincest going on there. She wouldn't last in the Ultimate Universe, and eventually an Ultron unit, one that had altered with her touch, became obsessed with her and saw Pietro as his rival. Ultron realized that Wanda would never be his. So he killed her with a bullet that was specifically designed and directly to her DNA. And then things got weird because Ultron decided to create android duplicates of the Ultimates, including one of Wanda, so that you could seem like a hero to the robot Wanda. If you want me to do a video on alternate versions of Ultron, let me know in the comments, because that's a whole different can of worms. Wanda Lensher, Earth 8092. She's one of the few characters who's been a member of both the X-Men and the Brotherhood of Mutants. Usually in all the former ones, she's part of the Brotherhood, then the Avengers. This is the X-Men and the Brotherhood. She's named after her mother in this timeline, and she looks exactly like her, spitting image. Her favourite kind of music is hard rock. Not sure how valuable that piece of information is, but it's hard rock. In her entire life as a superhero in Earth 8092 and as a supervillain with the Brotherhood, she's never thrown a single punch. She has her powers, she doesn't need it. After joining the Avengers, she sees Hawkeye as more of a father figure to her than Magneto, who was her actual father in that timeline, and even in that timeline, like all other ones, she was his favourite. Wanda Maximoff, Earth 81648. This one's a very interesting version, and one that I want to do more reading on myself. In this continuity, Wanda is a trained SHIELD agent who was experimented on as part of the super soldier serum, and that caused her mutant powers to manifest and work alongside the process of the super soldier serum. She's a member of the Monarchs, which in this universe, which is known as the Monarchverse, is the Avengers. And no spoilers, but I'll let you go into this. This version has her own little moment where she utters those 3 words: no more mutants. Finally, Wanda Maximoff, Earth 5. Just 5, an Earth with 1 number, 1 digit. I know, who'd have thought it? In this universe, Wanda is Scarlet Witch. She's a mutant, and different to the other ones, she's the primary villain of Earth 5. And she's current leader of the Brotherhood. This universe, a bit of backstory. She had a bit of a trying past. Her mother died after giving birth to her and Pietro, and she was taken in by the Romany Maximoffs. They had a decent childhood, but development of their mutant powers complicated things a little bit, as you'd imagine. Wanda was taught how to hold back her powers and to keep herself from altering reality or destroying it. And then they were forced to flee the area eventually. And they lived on the road for a bit, but in one town, Wanda accidentally set a house on fire, and they would have been killed if it wasn't for an intervention by Magneto. He always seems to show up. He told me to save them in the hopes that they would join his mission, and that's how they ended up in the Brotherhood. And their mission, as always with the Brotherhood, no matter what universe it is, was to defeat the X-Men and take them prisoner. Scarlet Witch was easily able to alter reality in little ways to defeat the X-Men, but this also caused her to have a little vision of Quicksilver's death at the hands of one Scott Summers. So she gave Scott a slight little telekinetic bump, just a little nudge, to move him out of the way. So it seemed like he'd missed the shot, but the butterfly effect. He missed Quicksilver, but it made contact with explosives, and it killed Quicksilver, Cyclops himself, Jean Grey, and Mastermind. The death of her brother completely destroyed her, as you've seen it can do in Ultron, but this time in Ultron, Age of Ultron made her a hero. This one, no, she ran through the scene before Magneto came around to help her, and vowed to create her own Brotherhood which she did, and she recruited Arachne, Zorn, Post, Mystique, and Havoc. And she would lead this Brotherhood to many, many victories because it's Wanda. So yeah, that was my alternate versions of the Scarlet Witch. There's tons more. If you'd like to hear more about different versions of Scarlet Witch, let me know in the comments down below. If you want to hear alternate versions of a different character, who's your favorite character? Who would you like to learn more about? Let me know and I'll get a video done on them. In the meantime, hit that like and subscribe button and hit that bell notification. Let's get us to 350 subscribers and I will do a giveaway of some merch. And also, full podcast with Curtis Clow is coming tomorrow, and that is exclusively on the Dynamo Podcast Network. I'll put a link in the description if you want to go check out an awesome episode of the podcast with an awesome indie comics writer. Until then, no more unsubscribers.